maybe I should webinar is the first of its kind, and I want to believe that you are going to get value for your time, because I know that time is a scarce commodity in this part of the world. And my name is Ikedeze Ndukwe, and I'm a financial educator here in Canada, licensed to do what I'm doing. And the purpose for this call is to bring value to you at no cost, to help you see where you can save more and also how you can close some leaking pockets you might have in your finances. So our goal is helping families to plan their finances and also helping families come out of debt and become debt-free. So today, as we all know, we are going to be looking at the topic beyond the spreadsheets, beyond using Excel sheet to manage your savings. There are better ways and better tools that can be achieved, especially in these modern days. So our goal today is to provide information and also to help you to open your eyes to see how you can automate some of these things and also how you can be consistent in your savings. So thank you. And because we are not going to waste further time, we'll just get into the slides. And as the presentation is going on, please feel free to drop, if you have a question, feel free to drop it on the comment section, and we'll attend to it as soon as we can. And I promise that all the questions that we have on the chat will be answered. The ones we don't have answers to immediately, we will come back to you on that. All right, so disclaimer. The information in this presentation should not be in any way interpreted as accounting, investment, legal, or tax advice. It's not an offer to sell or a solicitation to buy any security, insurance, or any financial products. It's, like I said, it's for information purposes, and also it's to help you to see how you can better manage your family finances and pull your family out of debt. This webinar is for educational purposes only. The campaign for financial literacy is to bring financial awareness and education. You will not learn anything during this course. You will not learn everything during the course of this webinar or workshop, but you will learn enough to implement and also make a change in your daily financial goals. So we help you learn, gain more confidence, and take action towards reaching your financial goals. All right, what are we going to cover today? We'll cover in this short time we'll look at why we need to save, and also we'll look at what are the reasons why people save these days and what are some of the reasons why you should save. And we'll also look at goal setting. The need to set a goal before you embark on savings, because we don't just wake up and say we want to save. There have to be a reason to go into savings. Then we'll look at financial foundation, just like building a house. Building your finances should also be the same approach we use in building a house. So we look at the right foundation that will need to be laid before we can go into savings. Then we'll also look at the wealth formula in conclusion. Then we can take questions and answers. All right, in introduction, most working professionals has to deal with one of the things that I'm going to be showing us in this first slide. And before I go into it, it's important to make us understand that according to surveys conducted by research firms and government agencies in Canada, it is noted that 1 out of every 4 Canadians borrow to buy food or pay for daily expenses simply because they run out of money before the next paycheck. That's 1 out of every 4. Then 1 out of every 6 Canadians you see have said that they don't make enough money to cover for their monthly expenses. Then if you push further, you see that according to the same survey that was conducted, I also discovered that 70% of Canadians are worried that they are not saving enough for retirement, and 32% are not even saving at all. Then you can pause and ask yourself this question: am I really saving enough for my retirement? Do you even know how much you need to live on when you retire? I think that should be the first question before if you are really saving enough, because you have to know the numbers, because numbers don't lie. Then 45 to 54% of Canadians carry credit card debt, and this debt, they roll it over month to month. And 23% have said that they are usually close to maxing out their credit limit. And this is a point to ponder. And I believe as we are rolling out these numbers, you're also beginning to also look inward to see where you fall into. So most of us don't want to be part of the statistics, but these are the problems that are all around us. But we don't want to be part of the numbers of people that are falling short in meeting up on our obligations in our families. So we can work hard all our lives. It's possible we work hard all your life and still retire poor if the proper foundations are not laid. If you allow that to become a way of life, it's possible you work hard all your life and still retire poor. So we put in some, these days we see parents putting in some effort to raise kids just to see those kids finish college with lots of debt. In this part of the world where it is easy to borrow, we see a lot of families going into debt because loans are easy to access. They flash it on our face, and most times we fall short of it. And finance is something that nobody teaches us. It's not taught in school. Nobody teaches us how to manage our money in school. Even in where discussions are held, financial issues are not often discussed, and financial products are not always explained. You see banks will flash a lot of financial products in your face, and they will tell you the good part of it, but they won't tell you the hidden part. And we rush to get those financial products, but we don't really understand how they work on the back end. So most people have troubles balancing their own paycheck and reading their financial paycheck. So we often, like I said before, I didn't realize I wasn't moving the slide. Out of every Canadians borrow, out of 4 of every Canadians borrow to buy food or meet up their monthly expenses. And 1 out of 6 have said that they don't make enough money to cover their monthly expenses. Then 70% are tired and worried that they are not even saving enough for retirement, and 2% are not saving at all. Then we look at the credit card issue. So most people have troubles balancing their own paychecks and reading financial statements, and that is the real issues that we are facing now. And we use credit cards every day and don't even understand the hidden charges and how they work in full extent. So we need to change this. We need to change these habits and also take charge of our financial future if we really want to build a future that is solid. And the truth is that there is nobody more interested in your financial future than you, not even the government, not your employer. So that tells us why everyone should own their own financial future and also the future of our family finances. So it's your responsibility to learn simple rules of how money works and understand how money is part of taking care of your family. Then we move to the next slide. And I mentioned that before we save, we need to sit down and ask ourselves, what are the reasons? Why am I saving? Because when it's a popular saying, when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse becomes inevitable. So what are the most common things that you are financially planning for? This is my question to you on this call, or that is watching this live. What are the most common things you are financially planning for? The truth is that we all want to have a comfortable retirement, but only a few have a plan. We are constantly being pushed towards becoming active spenders and passive savers. So we are going to be looking at some of the things that people usually save for, and you can also try to see where you fall in. The first thing is people save for school. One of the reasons people save for school or education, for your children's school fees. Then also we save for vacations and travel. And these are the common, most times you see that people don't really save for these things. Some categories of people believe that when it's time, they will look for the money to sort out this. But if you're on the path to building financial freedom, it's highly recommended that you save for these things, no matter how little they seem. A popular saying says you don't start looking for money for a man that the wife is pregnant. Don't start looking for money to pay the hospital bill on the day of delivery because you have 9 months to plan for that. So these are the reasons why people save. And also, these are the reasons why also you that is listening to me, you should save to ensure that you are not falling short in any way. Then the next one is people save for a wedding or engagement because these are activities that are capital intensive. Then people also save for homes. Buying first homes is very popular in this part of the world, and everyone wants to own a home. So it's advisable that you save for it rather than entering into that relationship at the lower side of having the bank to finance most of the stuff, and the equities you are bringing to the table is very low. So it's advisable to save and have upper hand in while entering into that partnership or relationship. Then the next is retirement, which is very important. It's advisable for people to save for retirement. Then my question to you is, what are you planning for? And what do you think you need to start saving for today? Because savings has to be very important if we are making money. It has to be very important that we pay attention to savings. Then we'll move on. But before you can embark into savings, there is a need for goal setting. If they are related, you need to define the goal. Setting and reevaluating goal is an important part to being financially secure. So goal setting is not what we do just at the beginning of the month. It's something we at the beginning of the month or beginning of the year, but it's something that we need to do and reevaluate even as the days goes by. If you are saving and building your future without solid goals, you are most likely to overspend and not have the resources when you need it most. The lack of goal setting has pushed a lot of people into debt, and if not properly catered for, you see yourself buying the things you don't need. You see yourself committing to costs that wasn't planned for. Then we move on, still on goal setting. Financial goals are generally based on the amount and time needed. So different ages will have different goals and time frames. So when you are single, your goal as a single person is different from your goal when you marry, because you are not planning for the family, you are planning for the wife or your husband, your spouse, you are planning also for the children. So at different stage in life, goals are meant to be reevaluated and also cater for the things that really matters in life. And goals can be categorized into, I can say, 3 different types. We can have short-term goals. Short-term goals are goals that usually things that you needed to do in less than 1 year. And what are the examples of short-term goals? If I may ask you on this call, what are examples of short-term goals? We see that examples can be to pay off a specific debt or saving for a vacation, as we saw in the previous slide. Then we also have mid-term goals. Mid-term goals are usually between 1 to 5 years. Those are the things you wish to achieve between this time frame. And examples of mid-term goals are maybe you are trying to pay off for a car or trying to pay off a debt that is a bit huge. Then we have long-term goals, these are goals that are over 5 years and 5 years and above. These are the ones we categorize as long-term goals. And examples can be saving for a child's education, down payment for a house, retirement. So understanding what you are saving for helps you to categorize this goal and helps you to know how much you should be putting down for each of the needs that you need to save for. It's very important in savings. So at the end of the day, each goal must be paired with an action. At the end of the day, each goal must be paired with an action I have here. And the question from me to you now is, what are you doing to achieve your goals? What are you doing to achieve each of the goals that, whether short-term goals, mid-term goals, or long-term goals, what are you doing? Have you started putting money aside, or are you waiting for when the need comes, you now start looking for where to borrow to meet those needs? That is not a wise financial plan. Then we go into discover you have to save. So how much do you need to save? How much do I really need to save if to go into this saving? So to help determine how much you need to save, we can use there different basic financial principles that people use to save, and we'll just run through them. And I believe some of us already know these things, but it's just bringing it up so that we can refresh our memory. So the first one is formula 10-20. The 10-20 formula is a basic money management rule used in personal finance. Can also use it in a family finance planning. So this simply means that you save at least 10% of your income. 10% of everything you earn should go into saving. Then you can keep 20% can be used to pay off debt below 20, maximum 20%, usually below 20%. Keep debt management below 20% of your income. So that means if my paycheck is, for instance, $5,000 at the end of every month, 500 should go into savings minimum. Then I shouldn't spend more than 1,000 in servicing debt, paying off maybe credit card debt, loan that was borrowed, or any kind of debt. So that is how to determine how much you need to save. Then this formula helps you. Why 10-20 rule? This formula helps you to build emergency savings. It keeps your needs under control. Also, it helps you to avoid lifestyle inflation, because a lot of mistake a lot of people make is that when their earning increase, their lifestyle increases. But this approach helps you to avoid that kind of lifestyle inflation, stay out of excessive debt, and create long-term wealth gradually. Then the next point to determine how much you need to save is having a financial need analysis. This is like going for a medical diagnosis, but now as it's related to finances. A financial need analysis will help you to determine how much you really need to meet your goals and protect your family. Doing a financial analysis will really help you to determine how much you need to meet your goals and also protect your families, so that you don't have to be under pressure in any way. In doing a financial need analysis, which can also, we call it FNE. We calculate emergency fund, insurance need, retirement target, children education, debt repayment, income replacement, if something happens. So those are the things that we look at when doing a financial need analysis. And my advice to you is to quickly seek advice of a financial professional to do your financial need analysis. You can also book a call with me to have it done for your family, because the truth is that after a financial need analysis is done, it will open your eyes to see where you really are in terms of building your financial future. Because at the end, some families have done financial need analysis for, it helps them to discover, oh, these are the areas I really need to be putting out money. And indeed, I see a lot of people don't have emergency fund. A lot of people are not even saving for their children's education. I was speaking to somebody and he said, when it's time to go to school, my children, when it's time to go to university, they will have to collect loan. And I was like, you are still young. Why will you wait for your children to go to school on loan? Do you know what that means? He said, yes, when they come out, they can pay back the money. But this person have not really sat down to look at it and say, okay, I can actually start putting down as little as $100 every month, apart from other financial responsibilities I have, to say, okay, just put it down in a high yield interest savings account. You do that for 10 years, you see the amounts, you see the power of compound interest at work, and you see with the interest and everything, you see the amount that you must have gathered, and you don't need to borrow for your children to go to school. The next one is having a personal financial strategy, which is also called PFS. A personal financial strategy is your customized roadmap for investing, insurance, and what have you. So it answers the question to where should I put my money? How much should I save monthly? Because when you have this strategy, you are not caught unaware by any events or any issues. So it answers the question of what type of account should I open? In Canada here, we have different accounts for different purposes. And a lot of people don't know these things. A lot of people are still putting their money in savings account, checking account. All your money is going to checking account. From checking, you move it to where you want to, different daily expenses. Two major accounts, checking and credit. But there are different accounts that you can leverage to become financially independent by putting the money in the right vehicle. So it also helps you to answer the question of how do I balance my current life versus the future life. So this is what personal financial strategy will help you to do. Then the next one is a financial calculator. Financial calculators help us to estimate how much to save monthly and calculate your retirement growth, the money you are putting out for retirement. You calculate how much they are growing per year, and also the compound interest. So this, you can use leverage any of them or all of them at the same time to determine how much you really need to save on a monthly basis so that you don't go into debt. So many financial professionals suggest that you save 10 times your annual income in order to meet the insurance need for your family, and 20 times your income saved by the time you retire. My question to you again is that if we run these numbers for you, are you really meeting up or are you falling behind? Whichever strategy you decide to use, remember that procrastination is not part of the strategy. So the goal of this webinar is so that you take action and you take that action immediately. Don't delay. So we calculate, the next is how to calculate your goals. How much do you need to save per month for a house, or how about retirement? Assuming that you have a need of $1 million at age 65, which is the retirement age in Canada. Here is what you need to save per month based on an 8% rate of return. 286.44 per month. Depending on the age bracket, for if you are 25, 286 per month. If somebody is someone that is 35 and 40, it's recommended you save $670 a month. And if it's an older person, then because the more you grow old, the higher the amount becomes. It's recommended you save 697. If you want to meet up, assuming you have this need of a retirement need will be probably $1 million when you retire. Then is it advisable that you work with someone on your goals to assess your current situation, develop a strategy to reach them, and what you will do after you've reached your goals. So I want us to do a little hands-on so that it doesn't look as if we are just doing. I'll just stop and share a different screen so that we can run some of these numbers and see what's just to see how much you need to save to reach your goals. Just give me 1 minute to pull up the screen here. So I'm going to use this to call a financial calculator, show us just to run some numbers for us. So I'm going to revert everything back to 0. Then personal information is current age, assuming that we have someone called Mr. A, and Mr. A is currently, let's say, 35 years. Please follow me and you can ask question in case you miss me anywhere. Let's assume that Mr. A is currently 35 years and Mr. A is putting away $200 a month as savings. And Mr. A currently have about $5,000 saved in a bank. Sorry, this $5,000 saved currently. Now, just watch as I'm putting these numbers, putting the numbers, this other side are changing. I will explain them briefly. And retirement planning, what we ask Mr. A, if Mr. A is, let's assume Mr. A is earning 3,000 every month, and at retirement, Mr. A has forecast that he will need 4,000 monthly because if factor in inflation at retirement to meet up with the current lifestyle. And monthly amount needed at retirement should be 4,000. Just follow me. I know it can be confusing. It's a expected rate of return at 4%, which is what is attainable. So what this means now is that the retirement target for Mr. A is based on $4,000 a month at 4% rate monthly amount needed. So if Mr. A, when he retires at 65, he will need 4,000 every month to meet up with the monthly requirement. So this system has recommended, oh sorry, this didn't change again. The system will recommend, you see the numbers that is recommended for Mr. A to have by age 65. So by age 65, the system is recommended that Mr. A needs to have $1.2 million in accounts at this 4% rate of return. Then also from here, we see that the current target progress, Mr. A currently have 5,000 in accounts. So to get to 1.2 million, he's at 0.4% to that goal. So he's falling short of 1.195. Mr. A is 35 and he's putting away $200 every month. And Mr. A already have 5,000 in accounts, and 5,000 is aiming to get to 1.2 million. Then based on the financial independence at age 60, Mr. A will, if we do 60, Mr. A is falling short of this goal by 1.8 by roughly $1 million. So he needs to save an additional $1,246 every month to reach this goal. The question is, does he have this money? Then, if we take it to age 65, projected amount that he needs to, the system is recommending that he saves at age 65, that he save $750 a month. He's falling short of his goal by this amount. So, and to make it more, you can see here, this is the graph. So this is the age 35, and this is the target. This green is what we are targeting, $1.2 million by age 65. Look at the age 65. So you can see that if he continues at this rate, he's not going to meet this goal. So it's very glaring. So what Mr. A can do by using this financial calculator is to come back here and plot the number, increase, and say, okay, how much do I need to add more so that I'll be able to meet this target? So this is just a dummy data. If you, because of our time, if you know what your numbers are, I will tell you, you can reach me maybe after this call. We can set up a call to run your own numbers. We put in the real numbers, you see where you are. Some people are here, some people, when you do it, you see that they are somewhere here, and they need to, that will tell you how much you need to add so that you are sure that you are not just saving. I don't know if you are getting what I'm saying. So that will give you an idea of how much do I need to add so that by my retirement age, I'm not of reaching my goals. So slide. Sorry for that short. So just go back to yeah. All right. So how to calculate your goals using those financial calculators. It helps you to, it opens your eyes to see what you need to add or what you need to remove to be sure that you are on the right track. Then the next, we go to the next is, sorry, my slide is taking time to come. All right. So on the road, and I all agree there are obstacles on the way. It's not a smooth ride because one day you have enough money to meet your need. The next day you see that you are falling short, probably debt, unexpected expenses hitting you from left, right, and center. So on the road to our financial goals, we must prepare for when life happens. When life happens can be a broken down car, loss of property, or even a loss of a loved one. So goals, all these things can, setback or obstacles can make the goals to be pushed further away due to financial setbacks. But we can be smarter than that. So would you rather feel certain in your finances, or you scramble by asking for donation through crowdfunding? In the of the world, the first time I came to Canada, I noticed that there were a lot of GoFundMe accounts virtually on every group you join. You see that they are raising money for somebody's funeral, raising money for somebody's accident, and they are doing GoFundMe. So you ask yourself, is this the kind of life I want to live? God forbid, if life happens, will my family have to go and open the same account, or can I sit back and plan for my finances so that even though the family is mourning, you still have something to hold on to fall back to. The family don't have to be reduced, their children don't have to be out of school, the wife don't have to be juggling 10 jobs because the partner is no more. So these are the questions we need to ask, even though we are not praying that such happen, but we need to plan. And it's better you plan and they don't happen, you have those SSCs to meet other needs, than you don't plan and eventually they happens and the story is different. So prepare for these unexpected events by having a proper financial protection. That's my advice to you. Then this takes us to what is financial foundation. Like I said, when we are starting, building a financial future is like the house. And in building a house, we start with foundation. You should start with, like building a house, you should start with a solid financial foundation and build it from ground up. But the reverse is the case. You see these days, a lot of people start financial foundation with savings, or even they start with investments, but that's not the way to start if you really want to have a robust financial future. So what are the things you need to do to build this future? I think the first one is you have proper protection, like before. First, you should have a proper protection in the event of disability, health problems, or premature death, so that this will help cater for unforeseen days. Then you should reduce your liability and get out of debt. Debt is a lot of people are getting debt according to statistics that we read out in this part of the world, because it's easier to access loans. It's easier to access credit cards. So a lot of people are drowning in debt. So you should reduce your liabilities and get out of debt as soon as possible. Then emergency fund, you should set aside at least 3 to 6 months of your income to deal with sudden changes at your job or business, or to pay for unforeseen accidents or repairs. So this is what emergency fund helps you to do. Emergency fund is like, if I should explain this, it's like if your salary, for instance, is $1,000 every month, it's advised that you have at least between $3,000 to $6,000 saved in an account called emergency fund, not your savings account. And this money will just be there, just in case there is loss of job, in case there is you need to pay for it happens. Imagine you pull money from there without having to sweat. Then the next and the final one is investment. So that after you've taken care of, you can only start investing after you've taken care of, you've had proper protection, debt, pay off the debt, you have emergency funds. That's when you can now start saving and investing. But we see a lot of us, you do it from the other way around. Once we notice that we've started making more money, we'll start looking for the next funds to buy. We start looking for the next investment to make, or the next real estate property to buy. And you've not really asked yourself, what happens? Do I have enough money to cater for it, or do I have to now sell the investment I'm making to cater for the unforeseen circumstances? So you should save and invest for the long run. All this should be done as soon as possible. From proper protection to investment, they should be done as soon as possible. Because the truth is that if you try to save a few dollars a month but have no insurance, for instance, as form of protection, when unforeseen sickness comes, or disabilities or death occurs, this savings you are putting aside won't last. You see that you start dipping money inside those savings to meet those needs. Likewise, if you have an emergency fund, if your money is tied up in an investment, imagine you don't have an emergency fund and an emergency happens, and that money tied in an investment, in this part of the world, Canada, you can't access immediately. You have to reach the bank. The bank will request the money, and between 24 to 48 hours before the money will hit your checking account. So you now see that you now have to deal with sudden unexpected expenses. You may have to get in more debt while waiting to liquidate the investment. So a strong financial foundation will help you build more in financial house. So building your savings, growing your wealth. That is all I've been trying to say. You build your savings and also you grow your wealth in this life. Then the next is time is fast spent. The wealth formula. We'll quickly look at the wealth formula. If you want to build wealth, which formula should you apply? Because wealth is a mathematical problem, and like we know, money doesn't grow on a tree, a popular saying. So you must work for it. If you want to build wealth, there is a formula for you to build on, and the formula I have is that has been proposed is a plus time, plus or minus rate of inflation minus tax. That is when you now, whatever is remaining is what you can categorize as wealth. So money doesn't grow on the trees, as I say, you must work for it. So if you want to build wealth, there's a formula for it. I'm just going to quickly explain each of these, and that will be the end of this session. Then we should be able to ask, what is money? And a lot of us will ask, where is the money? Where is the money? What people seem to have money problems, especially in this part of the world where there is abundance. A good number of people seems to have money problem. Most of the time, they are short of funds. Instead of saving whatever is left at the end of the month, you see that we are spending to save. We spend first, then we save, instead of saving first to spend. So we think about money in two ways. Time is money. Time is money. And that in order to earn money, you must use your time, trading time for money, which is what is obtainable largely. And another form of money is using money to make money. And this refers to money accruing interest over a period of time. So at this point, we can categorically say that money is now working for you. That's the point. You said that money is working for you. So finding the truth is that spending money is a way of life, because if it can become a habit if not curtailed. You see, buying things on sales. You see people going to Walmart every time. You're always buying. Spending money shouldn't be a way of life. We should always we should be responsible on the things we need, because if care is not taken, shopping can become a way of life. That's what I'm trying to say. And bargains or sales items on sales is not always make money, because a lot of times we see sales flash on our face and we think they are buying them. We are saving money by buying them. It could mean you are buying things you don't need. Then we look at time. Don't remember the formula for wealth. We say that is money plus time. So what is time? Time can be for us. So having a lot of time is very good. But if when we have time on our side, we don't utilize it, it can cost us. So we are going to see a scenario of what happens to what I call Mr. Start Early, Mr. Start Later, or Mr. Wait Longer. So we see here, briefly, I'll just run through it because of our time. You see that the first person on our by the left-hand side of them, these are two categories of people. Mr. Start Early is 25, and he is going to save till his 48. And Mr. Start Later is 25, and he's going to save till his 48. But Start Early is saving from 25 years, and he saved from 25 to 31 years, and he's putting out $3,600 annually. You can divide it to see how much that comes out in a month. We see that if he stops saving at age 31, and the money will just start, you see that the money will now start making interest. The money starts accumulating till age 48. He's going to, how much can you see? $128,361. That's how much you see. How much did he put? Total contribution is $25,200. Then you have another person called Mr. Wait Longer, under the same condition, nothing changes, but he didn't start saving at 25. He was like, I still have time to save. Mr. Wait Longer starts saving from 32. The same amount of money, 3,600 every month, and start putting. You see that Mr. Wait Longer even saved longer than Mr. Start Early. Start putting this money from 32 to age 48. And you see the total accumulation of bonds till at age 48, he must have put in $131,221. And total contribution is what? 61,200. So you see that this makes someone put in 25,200, and total accumulation is 128,000, and someone put in this large amount of money. This is more than times 2 of what this guy put. But look at what, so this scenario is just to show us the importance of time in saving. When you start early, you take leverage. When you leverage time, you start early, you gain more than having to wait longer. Because the longer you wait, the more effort you put, and the output is not as when you start early. So, and the next one is of return, which is there's a rule that we call in financing. The rule of 72 shows how to approximately calculate the effect of compound interest. How to effectively calculate the effect of compound interest with a very simple formula. And I'm going to show us, just share this one with us. The most important concept on finance is this rule, and it shows how to calculate this. The formula is simply divide 72 by rate of return of the money. That will give you how many years it takes for that money to double. If you take 72 and divide it by the rate of return of any amount you want to see, it will give you how many years it takes for that money to double. Then I'm going to just show us some examples. For example, with an interest rate, if you divide 72 by 4, that tells you that money will take 18 years double. Imagine you are saving $100, a rate of 4%. You did that 4%. That tells you that in the next, if you are putting that money in savings account, it will take 18 years for you to get through. So these are some things that you need to go into savings, and also to know where your money is going to. So rule of 72 unveils the powerful impact of compound interest on money. It also reveals two types of people who don't understand how money works. And this set of people, if you don't understand how money works, you end up working for money. Then the second set of people is people who truly understand how money works. So this kind of people, they let money work for them. And I'm going to give us an example in this slide. if I get 6% rate of return on my money every year, just follow my illustration. If I get 6% rate of return on my money every year, that means it will take 12 years for that money to double. And an example we have here is a initial deposit. Imagine I deposit $10,000 in an account. By 12 money, it will be 20,000, 122. Next 24 years, you see that for every 12 years, that money doubles. Then what if I now say and the rate of return is 8%? That means it takes 9 years. The years it takes for that money to double reduces. So that means for every 9 years, the money, the same 10,000 that was put doubles. If you see the illustration, this is the first 9 years is 19,990. The next 9 years is this amount, 39,000, 79,000, and 159. So for every 9 years, that money doubles. Then what if the rate of returns, we increase it to 10%? So this gives also the number, you see that is 7.5 years, 7.2, that is 7.5 years, the money doubles every 7.5 years. So why I'm showing us this example is that in savings, we need to pay attention to the rate of return. So you ask yourself, whichever portfolio you are putting your money into to save, what is the rate of return? And that is part of becoming financially literate. Knowing about having, don't just open an account and say you want to save. You have to ask yourself, what is the rate of return on this money going to be per annum? And that will give you an idea, and you monitor it. So you see that if the money, if I divide the rate of return by 72, I'll give you the rate of return. That means I should go for higher rate from this example. Instead of waiting for 12 years, if I find higher rates, I can reduce the number of times it takes for that money to double, and through that, I can also start building wealth. I hope you are following my illustration. So the next is inflation, cost of living. Inflation, cost of living, run through it because understand our initial formula, which shows that the formula for wealth, which is money plus time, plus or minus rate of return, minus inflation, minus that will give you true wealth. So since 1958, the inflation rate in Canada has been 3.6%. This is from statistics. Then the question is, what is inflation? Inflation is simply the rise in goods and services over time, the rise in the prices of goods and services over time. So we understand that when prices increases, our purchasing power decreases. And we see this happening every now and then. For example, if the inflation rate is 3.6%, like we mentioned, as it is in Canada, that means that the $100 you have today will only be worth $95.5 next year. So due to inflation, you see that the value of that money is coming down. So the way to be smarter than this is to find portfolio that will ensure that the value of that money doesn't go down. And inflation happens when countries it usually happens when countries print more money than it earns. So the result is that everybody's money starts losing value. And I think one of the books I was reading, the inflation was referred to as a hidden. So you see that it starts that is hidden that you don't even are paying. So it's a factor to consider when building your financial future. Then we look at some examples. I have a chart that says cost of living in Canada. This is from extract from a book. Average cost of living in Canada in the 70s, it was to buy a new home, you need 23,450. To buy a gas, that is a loaf of bread cost 28 cents, and wages was salary or wages was about $20,000 every month. Then in this amount is now follow the trend, see how it is increasing. In the 90s, about the same. New home is costing 123K, and gas is now 56 cents, and a loaf of bread is now $1, $1.32. Wages 31,000. Then as of today, what is the number today? You see how this number today to buy a new home averaging in Canada is 600K, 688,000. Then gas is 1.2, 2.84 and 50, an average salary or wage offense in Canada. So these are the numbers. These numbers will help you see what the impact of inflation on your money. we look at taxes. Remember, we are we are following the wealth formula, looking at them individually. So we see that taxes is a problem that is what is in our part of the world. When you make money, the government tax you. When you spend money, you pay tax. Even when you are saving, pay tax. Even when a person dies, the person still pays tax even without knowing. So we move from sales tax to property tax to real estate tax, and we see taxes all over. And there are three categories of taxes that we can look at this slide. You can pay tax now. That we call it tax now. That means that any earnings from these accounts must pay tax for that year. Any earnings you make. So that's three categories of people or taxes that we can see is you can pay tax now, you can tax later. That means the money you put in that account is deferred in you pay tax when you want to withdraw. Then we can see tax advantage. Tax advantage are the account that you open, you don't pay tax on them. Well, a lot of people don't know these things. So if you don't know and you put your money in accounts that you have to pay the tax, now every time you put that money, you see that you are losing money. If you put your money in the account that you don't really know that they tell you that there is no tax, but they won't tell you that you pay tax when you want to withdraw that money. You think that you are saving. The story that was making around there was in early this year or last year about a lady in Toronto that the parents died and the house that was owed to her, the CRA sent a letter, she was owing about 650K because that money was put in, the parents willed their home to her. So CRA calculated the interest, the tax on that house and sent a letter to say, this is the amount you are owing by getting this house. If the parents had known that, are you asking a question? All right. So if they've known that this, by selling this house, we still have to pay tax on it, then they would have looked for a vehicle, an investment vehicle that's tax advantage that they won't have to pay tax at all. And by willing that house to, and by using that tax to inheritance to the actually that daughter will have no, the child will have to pay any tax at all. So I want to believe we are following the story. So taxes may have big impact on money. And that's the truth. Any savings or investment strategy that you want to consider, you must ask yourself, what is the current tax rate? And what will the tax rate be in the future? Because these things grows. So will the tax rise and will it fall? So that will also advise, help you make informed decision on the vehicle to choose in saving money. Then we are just going to do a little exercise. We are almost done. We are at the end of this webinar. Different accounts that you can have for those of us here. So I'm just going to test our knowledge. These are different accounts that you can open with your bank, with your financial advisor. So the first one is savings account. So I'm going to ask us, we have savings account, we have RRSP, which is savings account. Then we have RESP, which is Registered Educational Savings Account. Then we have TFSA, which is a tax-free savings account. So if I ask you now, if you have a savings account, the savings account is a checking account which you have with your bank. So will you categorize a savings account as a tax now, tax later, or tax advantage? So it's a tax now. So any money in your checking account, savings account, you are paying tax on them as that money is, as you withdraw, as that money is entering. So what about registered retirement savings plan, which is RRSP? Is it tax now or tax later or tax advantage? Obviously, it's tax later because any money you are saving towards this retirement savings account, when you retire, when you want to, the government tax you for that money. Then what about educational savings plan? Do you think it's tax now, tax later, or tax advantage? It's tax later because when that child wants to go to school, that's when that money you want to withdraw that money, you pay tax on it. Then what about tax-free savings accounts? I want you to guess is tax advantage. So this is why you need to understand these different portfolios. So if you want to really take advantage of growing your money, you should look at putting your money more often. This account, they have the advantages they have, but if you really want to go into savings, so from here we can see that we can leverage the tax-free savings account. So taxes may have big impact on your money, as I said. You also have discover what will your tax rate be. So you also need to reduce the impacts. The next slide is reduce the impacts taxes have on your money. So that's how smart investors think. When savings, you want to consider the effect that taxes can have on your income. You don't just leave it unattended to. So, like we say, tax now, examples are checkings accounts, savings, GICs, mutual funds. You pay tax on those accounts. Then tax later, that's you defer the tax. Like you can see from this graph, you see that you're not paying anything until you want to withdraw. And the examples are RRSP, RRIF, this to pension, excuse me. Tax advantage, you have the TSFA, the TFSA, then the first home FHSA that's the first home savings account, life insurance benefit, health insurance, and primary residence. Then we go to, in conclusion, you have to really believe in your future. If you want to plan and save for your future, you have to believe in your future. You can become financially independent if you have a plan of action. Seek more means, my advice would be to seek means to increase your money when you can, while you can. Have multiple sources of income. And the next one is spend less, save more. Rebalance your budget, increase your savings. Don't allow your lifestyle to increase when you increases. Reduce your debt and liabilities. You can be debt free. That's true. So I've heard a story of a couple that was owing about $134,000 car loan and different. They were just collecting loans everywhere, and it took them 16 months to finish up paying those debts. They were disciplined when they didn't know initially, because financial education will open your eyes. So when they went through this kind of training, they saw that they were really in debt. So they decided to give up, sell the home, sell the car, that brand new car that was bought from the dealer, took the car back to the dealer, reevaluated and balanced up what was left, and started paying up student loan, credit card loan. It took them 16 months with discipline. So that's for me telling you that you can be debt free. Then understand how money works. Become your own money manager by understanding how to interpret and read your paychecks and statement or account statement. Have a clear financial goal. Build a solid financial foundation. Have a life of purpose. Build a legacy. Then expect change and expect to succeed. Change your habit and expect to win. So this is in final conclusion, end with a popular from Warren Buffett, which says, you don't save what is left after spending. Instead, you spend what is left after saving. And as I said before when we are starting, the purpose of this is to pull a lot of families out of debt, to help families discover that you can actually start saving your future from today. Financial independence is not a dream. It's often just a decision. So you have to make that decision today to be financially free. And with this viewpoint of mine, I want to believe that you're able to pick one or two from this webinar. And if there's any question, please feel free to drop it on the chat. And I'm going to also show you how to reach me in case any of what I've explained you need more, or you want me to do your financial need analysis, like you saw the financial calculator I used, or you want to just you want to find your PFS, personal financial strategy, you want to adopt a financial strategy, you can reach out to me, and we can sit down in a 30-minute call to look at what you're and also and advise you on what to do. And all these are for free. It's you're not paying for it. So and at this point, I'll make time for questions. Do you have any question? If you have a question, please them in the chat, or if you want to unmute to ask your questions, why not? You can just raise your hand, and I'll yield the floor to ask your questions. Thank you for joining, and thank you for your time. I don't take it for granted. And while we wait for questions, I'm going to show us the show you the code to QR code you can scan to book a call with me. For those of you that want to do your financial need analysis or your personal financial strategy, or you want to understand what you're not, because it's very important to understand this number so that you are not saving blindly. All these things are, like I showed you, these are formulas that has been tested and years, over 100 years. You see, they use this formula, they build a lasting financial future for their generations without shaking. So you too, why can't you do that instead of just doing it blindly? Thank you. Okay, I see a question on the top. Before that, let me just move to. So you can scan this code to the QR code if you love to book a meeting to have this done. Then I see some Okay, on the let me open. What is the what is the spendings? My spendings to Mr. Dewale Shoeton. So for me, I say the best way of tracking your spending would be to have a budget for that we spent. Have a system that you can use. There are tools that I won't name anyone, but like I said, if you probably on a chart, I can also um, recommend a few. So there are tools you can use to automate some of these things beyond just doing them. I would recommend that you have a budget and stick to that budget. Have a every kobo and stick to it. One of the people that made a statement. He said that any kobo that you don't budget for, you've lost control of that kobo. Of any dollar you don't budget for, you've lost control of that dollar. So even before the money comes, each dollar should be named and say, this is going to gas, this is going to education, this is going to feeding, this is going to savings, even before the paycheck arrive. The best way to track is by budgeting, naming them, then using one of the tools that are out there to keep track of what is coming in. I hope that the answer is clear. Any other question? I think we are 6 minutes behind. In the absence, okay, thank you, sir. In the absence of any other question, I would like to call it a day. Thank you so much for joining me. I didn't want to exceed this webinar to exceed what we already 6 minutes an hour. Thank you so much for making our time to join. And if you want to book a call, feel free to scan the QR code, and I'll see you on the other side of the call. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate your time. Have a wonderful evening, and do enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting us. Awesome section. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.